I had a question. Do you think the 2026 Milwaukee Brewers feel like a team that's standing at a crossroads? Just a season ago, this franchise won 97 games, built on very good pitching, airtight defense, and just enough offense to grind teams down. But now, they, in my opinion, lost their best player. And when you lose that and your best starter, that they had on a 97 win machine, you don't just replace that production. You have to reinvent your identity a little bit. Now, in 2026, they have a few big questions, the Brewers. They do have stars, several, but do they have a true superstar? And how much will penny pinching while losing Freddie Peralta hinder this team from making a true run? So let's go through the 40-man roster here and lineup and depth and figure out what this team really could be this year. Now, initially, let's talk about the pitching staff, though. It's pretty sneaky deep, but potentially dominant at the same time. Milwaukee has tried to make their DNA about pitching, and in 2026, that's not changing either. They might not have a surefire dominant ace right now, but they somehow always find a way, leading them to 97, 93, and 92 win seasons the past few years. But they just don't happen to get over the hump in the playoffs. So, to start, Brandon Woodruff was very good in limited action this past year. 1.2 WAR, 3.20 ERA, a .912 WHIP, 11.6 Ks per nine. He's a former two-time All-Star that's still got electric stuff. And the under 1.0 WHIP is crazy good. When he's right, he still has shown a frontline presence. But how long can that maintain? How long is he going to be healthy? We'll see. I don't see him pitching more than half the year, to be honest. Jacob Misiorowski. Now, he had a ridiculous 16.2 Ks per nine this past year in his rookie season. One of the, in my opinion, more mind-boggling all-star chosen players of late. But I don't think he had enough games personally. But hey, he was great early on. He did fall off late. The ERA dropped to 4.36. Still probably the best strikeout pitcher, probably. If in baseball, maybe. His heater is ridiculous. But he needs to find a way to command his pitches. And if he does, he's an ace. Now, they also have Logan Henderson, though. Had a very strong 1.0 WAR in his 5 games. That's great. A 1.78 ERA. Crazy small sample size, but wow. Yes, he's a pretty good prospect, but can he develop into an ace or a strong number 2? He might be the breakout arm in 2026 here. Quinn Priester. A 2.9 WAR, 3.32 ERA. That's real value. He did stabilize his command a bit, and he showed this past year he could definitely be a mid-rotation workhorse. Now, in years past, he definitely didn't show that. I think there'll be a little bit of a step back and be more of a low 4 ERA, personally. But it'll be respectable. Chad Patrick, a 1.9 WAR, 3.53 ERA. Mostly a starter, 23 starts and a few relief appearances. He's important to the team. He stabilizes it a bit. Also a bit of an unknown prior to 2025, but he's kind of slotted in as the number 5 guy, really. Can't beat that. Then they also have a few other pitchers like DL Hall. Now, yes, he'll probably be a long reliever for the most part, but he can spot start. 3.49 ERA. Kyle Harrison, recently acquired. He's shown flashes. Definitely not the top prospect he was once thought to be under the Giants, but that's not bad for a number 6-7 at all. Brandon Sprout, small sample size, but showed promise. Could he grow even further? In time, not going to get too many opportunities this year, though. Robert Gasser, limited MLB action thus far, but he's shown promise, too. Think about it. I mean, they have Shane Drohan and Carlos Rodriguez as well. And Coleman Crow. They've got several guys that can possibly step up. Now, I don't think they'll be playing too much this year, to be perfectly honest, but they've got potential, all 3 of them. Now, let's go to the bullpen, though. It's another strength. And honestly, Milwaukee might have one of the nastiest late inning combos in baseball. Trevor Amigo, 30 saves, 2.49 ERA, 11.5 Ks per 9. That's an all-star. He's been quite reliable the past few years. But honestly, Abner Uribe, my goodness, he very well might be the most dominant arm on the team. A 1.67 ERA in his 75 appearances, 2.7 WAR. Honestly, he's probably in my top 8 or so relievers in baseball. And very well may and should take over the closer role. It might be a case-by-case, game-by-game scenario for them. Now, Aaron Ashby, he's been great. Not always healthy, but a 2.16 ERA in his 43 appearances, that's huge. Jared Koenig, a 2.86 ERA in 72 games. Another lefty weapon. Grant Anderson, a 3.23 ERA in his 66 games. Just think about it. This is phenomenal depth here. Angel Zerpa can definitely be a high usage guy, but it's definitely not going to be used that way. He's solid. And it's going to be more used as a depth piece here. And Rob Satrinsky. He's rarely healthy, sure, but had a very sneaky 2.45 ERA. And yeah, they've got a few other pieces. Easton McGee, Sammy Peralta as well, that won't necessarily play all too much. And Craig Yoho, but their potential, their depth, they all can play. The bullpen can shorten games, and that matters when your offense isn't overwhelming. So, with that said, let's get into the lineup and see how this team winds up. Let's start with the core. William Contreras, a 3.9 WAR. One of the best, probably maybe second or third best catcher in all baseball, at worst. Borderline top 50 player, though. Power dipped this past year, but 17 home runs behind the plate's pretty good. I expect him to crack 20 again. Good defender now. Wasn't thought as that years ago with the Braves, but he stepped up. Bryce Terang. I mean, 5.6 WAR, Gold Glover. Had a breakout year. At 288, 18 home runs, 24 stolen bases. It's all-star caliber. Not necessarily superstar, though. But maybe he could if the bat ticks up, even more so. He's easily a top 4 second baseman in baseball today. Could be 2, but I'd say 3, 4 personally. Can't beat that. Can't complain about that. Christian Yelich. He's not an MVP type caliber guy anymore, but still rakes. Still middle of the order presence. Multiple time All-Star. That's still producing. Jackson Chourio. Just 21 home runs, 21 stolen bases, but is he the future face of the team and organization? Only had a 2.2 WAR, but he does have the tools to scream superstardom. If he does take the leap, everything about this team changes. I'm not sure if he's there just yet. I mean, he's just going to be 21 in this year, but I think he'll get there eventually, yes. Just not in 2026, in my opinion. He'll take another step, but not quite there. Sal Frelick, another guy. Maybe not necessarily dominant, but my goodness, one of the best contact bats, great speed, very strong defender. He's a highly valuable player for the Brewers. Now, outside of that, it's really kind of a supporting cast, really. Gary Sanchez has good power, but a negative WAR. Got a negative .6 defensive WAR. That's not good at all. Jefferson Guerrero. Catcher of the future, probably. I think he'll be that. I think at some point he probably forces Gary Sanchez to be DFA'd, to be honest with you. Still waiting on his debut. That won't be till past the All-Star break, if I had to guess, but he should be good. Andrew Vaughn did hit over 300 for the Brewers this past year, but hit just 254 altogether in his 406 at-bats. 14 home runs, solid, but defensively he does struggle. Over his career, though, has a negative -7 defensive WAR. Really poor. Really poor. Jake Bauers. A useful roll bat, to be honest. Should be a platoon against righties mostly, but he can play multiple positions, which is a big value. Tyler Black. No longer the guy that was a top 100 prospect, that's for sure. Barely. I don't think he's much of a prospect at all, to be honest. He has a good speed, but needs to produce to remain in the majors. I think this could well be one of his last 1 or 2 years in the majors if he doesn't step up and step up now. David Hamilton. Well, he had a rough OPS, that's for sure. Doesn't hit the ball great, but he is one of the fastest players in all of baseball. If he gets playing time, he'll get 30 steals. And he could, because there's not that much depth on the middle infield and infield. Luis Rengifo brings versatility. Did have modest production this past year. More than likely, though, they're starting third baseman. Doesn't scare anybody. He could be decent. Maybe he gets a step back and back to 2024 abilities, but I don't think he's great. Joey Ortiz. honestly a glove first infielder, but in all honesty, he's probably amongst the two or three worst starting shortstops in baseball today. Now, if a bat steps up, then yeah, he's could be top 20, but he hasn't proven it at all in the slightest thus far. So he is absolutely somewhere in 28 to 30 range amongst starting shortstops. Badu, shown minor league power and speed. Honestly, should pretty much just be depth. I'm a bit surprised he got a major league contract, but clearly the Brewers seem to like him. Blake Perkins should be more of a depth outfielder, but a great defensive fielder. Good speed. Bat hasn't shown at all, though. I think Garrett Mitchell, personally, if he's ever healthy, will get more opportunities to start, but he hasn't found his footing at all because he's had so many injuries in his career. Brandon Lockridge doesn't show too much outside of his great speed. Be a pinch runner for the team. Won't offer too much more. Stuart Baroa. Good defender for sure. Very good speed. Another valuable piece. Bat hasn't come along altogether, but what's there to complain about? He's, like an eighth outfielder. So there's depth and flexibility within the lineup and roster. That's definitely true. But there's no 7-8 war monster in the lineup or team anywhere. Now, let's talk about the Brewers, though, a little more in detail and specify why they could succeed and might not make the playoffs at the same time. Now, they do have a veteran, a former ace in Woodruff, but can he stay healthy? They have potential aces in Henderson and Mizrowski. That's true. They do have a dominant bullpen. They have a Gold Glove second baseman. That's amongst the best second baseman in all baseball. They do have a rising five-tool outfielder in Churio. But if you really think about it, do the Brewers even have a top 50 player in baseball? Maybe. Barely, if so. I mean, I'm sure some people want Churio or Contreras or maybe Terang. I don't see it, personally. Yes, they do have several within the top 100. That's very much so true. And they have a few guys that can definitely keep sneaking up as well. So, yes, they could have 7-8 guys in the top 100 next year, maybe. But not quite there yet. Terang did have the best season, really, of everybody this past year. Churio's got the ceiling. Woodruff has the pedigree. But replacing the best pitcher, it's, to me, unlikely, to be blunt. And that's why getting back to 97 wins feels unlikely without a few things occurring for sure. I don't think they have a chance unless Churio has an explosion. Mizrowski remains unhittable. And Henderson is a perennial all-star. And that begins in 2026. But regardless if that happens or not, they can surprise because of the depth, the defense overall. They've got speed throughout. Once again, the bullpen. They could easily win 89 to 93 games if everything hits. But things can fall short too. they've proven they're not too consistent offensively without having a true MVP caliber bat in the lineup. That tends to have struggles. They're relying heavily on young arms. Can they remain healthy? There's some pretty rough defensive issues at first base. That's quite true. The margin's thinner as well because the Cubs and Reds are climbing. Heck, honestly, the Pirates are clearly going to be better too. They won't make the playoffs, but they'll be better. So, my final verdict of the Brewers in 2026 is that they're definitely not rebuilding. They're retooling. They have stars, they've got upside, and they have depth. But until someone does become a legitimate superstar, and the kind of player that swings a 5-game playoff series, this feels like a team that's just a dangerous wild card team. Because, yes, they can get hot. But when have they got hot in the past few years? They're not going to be the 97-win juggernaut. To me, personally, they're more of an 88, 89-win team this year. And yes, they'll make the playoffs. They'll be a wild card. But unless Churio ascends, Terang, Contreras contribute heavily, and Mizorowski, Henderson, and the staff remain solid, then we're having a different conversation come October. Milwaukee's definitely not done, but the window's definitely narrower. So, I'd love to hear your opinion. Do you think the Brewers are just grabbing the wild card spot, or are they the front runner in the NL Central? Did the Cubs or Reds catch them? Drop your predictions in the comments below. Leave a like. Appreciate you watching. Have a great day, everybody. Have a good one. Look out for more videos to come.